It's Mari McInerney here from Croaky, and I'm speaking here to the inaugural award winner of the prize for contribution to indigenous tobacco control in the Oceania region, and it is Hone Harawira. Have I said that correctly?
Not bad.
Now, would you be able to introduce yourself much more elegantly, please?
Kia ora mai no rā tātou katoa ko hau he Māori no te taitoke rau. Ko tōku ingoa ko Hone Pani Tāmati Wakanene Harawira. Heuri no te au pauri, ngā iwi katoa o roto te taitoke rau. Ka pohi nui tonu tēnā koutou kia ora tātou.
Beautiful. What have you said to me?
Just said, I'm from the north. I'm from the many tribes of the north. And my full name is Hone Pani Tāmati Wakanene Harawira.
Now, you are a former parliamentarian in New Zealand. You were a member of the Maori Party.
I was, yeah.
You've been acclaimed today for your work in tobacco control, working, of course, with your then party leader, yeah? The name of the award?
Sure, Dame Tariana Turia. Yeah.
Where do you count your major achievements in tobacco control, and what made you so passionate about it?
Okay, first of all, what made me so passionate about it? An elder of ours, well respected back home, his name was Māori Master. The day he died, I was so angry that I stopped smoking myself, because smoking killed him. I was so angry at him, I was saying to myself, how dare you die, Uncle Māori? How dare you die with all the knowledge you have yet to impart to us? And I was so angry that I quit that day, and I thought of everybody else who I'd lost, my father, uncles and aunties, cousins from tobacco, and I decided that I wanted to do something about it. I tried to do it at a local level, but when I became a parliamentarian, I decided I'm going to make it a mission to do something about tobacco. And it just helped having Tariana as one of the co-leaders, because well respected within parliamentary circles, very strong, not the sort of person to muck around. So I knew that with her backing we could do something.
What are you most proud of that you achieved in tobacco control?
I guess on the downside, I went to the Health Select Committee and they weren't prepared to back a campaign to get tobacco out of Aotearoa. I was so angry. Came back to talk to Tari and to others in the Māori Party about it. Went away, talked to some other advocates that I've been working with, and I decided to change the focus to an investigation on the impact of tobacco on Māori. And by doing it that way, I was able to take it away from the Health Select Committee, bring it across to the Māori Affairs Select Committee that I was a member of, and I was able to help drive that by getting people to make submissions from all around the country and convince our committee to take it all around the country. And that was so successful, the tour and people coming in, families, groups, schools, unions, doctors, nurses, everybody came to our select committee. That by the time we got back to Wellington, after being on the road for about 6 months, off and on, by the time we got back, the whole of Parliament backed it, except just one MP. But everybody else backed it from all different parties. So Tariana had the strength to bring in the legislation required to target 2025 as our goal, to make Aotearoa smoke-free in 2025.
And what measures did that bring with it?
Pardon?
What measures did that bring with it?
Well, it included the tax increases. It included the restriction on where you can smoke. It included the plain packaging and a couple of other issues that I just can't remember offhand, but Tariana was able to introduce those one after the other. And even though we were only a small party, we didn't have a lot of power, but because Tariana herself was a strong advocate for the issue, she was able to convince her colleagues on the back of the work that we'd done as a select committee that it was the right thing to do.
What's advice you would give to people who want to get something done like that? And it's a long way to go still in New Zealand, isn't it?
Oh, a heck of a long way. Look,
stalled. But what works do you find?
Nothing works beyond being strong, being committed, and being courageous, and not taking a backward step. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter whether it's land rights, health for people. If you know what needs to be done, then do what needs to be done. You will cop flack. You will often get told off by your own, and I did by many of my own who were smokers. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, why are we doing this? And we're doing this because our people are dying. Our people are being killed by big tobacco. So.
Now, that was a very passionate outburst you had. No, not an outburst, a passionate response to winning the award about that the tobacco companies should be held accountable.
Yes.
And you said, it's not the fault of those who become addicted, it's the fault of those who continue to sell their product.
That's right.
What can be done? What do you see?
Well, I mean, everybody's doing some really good work. I was really, really taken back by how much work Kylie's been doing, and others right across the sector. I've done some wonderful work. But I decided that I'm going to build a campaign to sue big tobacco.
Mm-hmm. And sue them on what grounds and in what?
On the grounds that they're killing our people.
Mm-hmm. And where can you do that?
Well, they say it's difficult to do it here in the Pacific. They say it may even be impossible to do it in the United States, but I'm never going to know that unless I do it. Mm. So I want to build a small cohort of people, key people from throughout the Pacific. Tom Kama's one of them, of course. I talked to Nandi Glassy from the Cook Islands, and I just want to get some key people and then take a case, see how we go.
And what about measures that you can do to, as well as that's the top you could go to, of course, but what about other measures in New Zealand? What should the New Zealand government be doing, particularly for Maori people?
Okay, we have enough. We bring in $2 billion in tax revenue from tobacco. It all goes into the consolidated fund, and then health has to bid for their share. But that money is all health money, tobacco tax. It should be committed to the tobacco fight. So I think first of all is force the Crown to do what the Cook Islands is doing, commit all tobacco tax money to health, and let the health experts decide how best to spend that to improve the health of our people. Secondly, target that funding to ensure that Māori who are way up here and Europeans here, that Māori get down under the 5% by 2025. At the moment, we're going to miss it by a mile. So targeted funding, or access to funding, targeted funding, and good people on the ground.
And what about this stalemate that we have in New Zealand at the moment, with Winston Peters actually set for the balance of power? Does that open up an opportunity on tobacco control at all? Do you
You'd like to think so, but the man's a smoker and a drinker. He's an uncle of mine. He's a very strong politician. I'm not quite sure that he's particularly supportive of tobacco control. In fact, he's not. And he uses the fact that it's costing smokers a hell of a lot more money to buy cigarettes now. He's taken the personal choice argument, whereas for me, addiction is not personal choice. Addiction is addiction. Our job is to break addiction. So, yeah.
And finally, what does winning this award mean to you?
I think really just laying a pathway for others, recognising that Indigenous people have a real role to play in tobacco control because it impacts so heavily on our communities, more so than on any other community. It impacts on Indigenous communities, and doing what we can to support one another in our various efforts to rid the Pacific of this scourge.
Thank you very much, Remy.
Thank you.